right, and we are back into the game. So down here, the bottom right-hand corner of Jungle Basin, we have our purple Zerg player. Some may call him the violet Zerg player. It is Empire Violet, and his opponent here in the upper left-hand corner of the map from the team Infinity 7, our red Protoss player, Axslav.
Yep. Cross positions, because that's the only way they can spawn on this map.
It's true.
Naturally.
There was, what was the map the other day when someone asked, is there, it was a two-player map, and they were like...
Oh, what was it? Sandshorn Mists in Team League, wasn't
that's
it?
what it was.
Zaka was asking that, I think.
Yeah, it was Zaka's pick, actually.
Oh.
It was the,
someone
Elfie.
Asked, yeah, Elfie
was the one who...
asked that. That's right, that's right.
All right, well, let's see
And
here.
Violet ends the game. No, I'm just kidding.
No, there it is, yeah, so...
Yep.
All right, down here, let's see what Violet's going to do. The map is kind of crazy. Of course, we can see a second base is fairly accessible off to the left, but of course there's a secondary ramp into your main that's accessible by destructible rocks outside of that natural itself. So a lot of early games were based around timing attacks into that natural. I certainly know that I abused that a lot.
Yeah, who didn't, man? I mean, it was just a thing to do back then. So here's the question, all right? So, do you remember the face on Atlantis Spaceship?
I do.
There is a big goofy face on this map. Look at the mini-map. You see the two Zelnog towers are eyes, and there's kind of like weird crooked smile.
Then there's that nose there, and there's the smile.
Yep. Kind of a big
weird.
goofy face on this map.
Looks like some sort of goblin, actually, because of the way the eyes are situated there. I don't know. Looks like a goblin to me.
All right. I can see that.
Do I have my goblin anatomy correct? Am I?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I'm glad I can come to you. If I ever have a question about the anatomy or physiology of...
We never dissected goblins in high school.
Really?
No.
Not a part of your... But you said you were a wizard.
I
figured that would be like a natural
Well, that would just be inhumane, man.
Okay, I guess so.
The goblins, they like work at banks and things. Remember?
Yes.
From Harry Potter? So
oh, you're the Harry Potter brand of wizard.
You wouldn't want to...
well done.
You wouldn't want to dissect them.
I guess so.
It wouldn't be very nice.
No, probably not. Probably impact your financial future as well.
Yeah, well, that would be the type of thing that he who shall not be named would do.
That's true. Voldemort?
Oh, that's okay. He's dead.
Yeah, it's true.
It's over.
Snape kills Dumbledore. All right, so over here, Nexus first for Axslav, and I know every time I say that, though, there's like one guy out there who's on Book 5 and is like, no! Are you joking?
It's been years!
I know.
Spoiler alert. I don't have a problem with this.
Look at this, a Gateway Forge opening for Axslav. Now, this is something that we've talked about before that used to be popular. Now, of course, Nexus First would have been a little bit more different, or would have been a little bit different, but still kind of the same sort of idea here out of Axslav.
Yeah, and I mean, you can kind of do something similar to, what you do on earlier maps, or newer maps rather, which is go for a pretty quick +1.
And Violet did click on it. I actually took his vision because I want to see if he would. Of course, he sees it now, so it's no big deal, but I was wondering if he would just assume that was a cybernetics core and move on.
Have you heard that you don't actually have to choose their vision to see if they click on something?
Oh, yeah.
You actually have like a little ring around what they're selecting. So right now, Axslav is selecting his Nexus.
Yep.
Now that probe?
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, but I always like looking at their vision and seeing like what they're flying past. And
that's okay.
Creates dramatic effect.
2 gas relatively quickly for Violet, actually.
Yeah.
As weird as it sounds, players actually did Nidoswarms on this map fairly often. So that could be a possibility as well.
Especially that Overlord sitting towards the top. A lot of Protoss players will build structures just as Axslav is doing right now to make sure the destructible rocks don't go down, but not a lot of vision up here in this part of the on these 2 bases.
Yeah, exactly. So we could see something like that. We'll have to see what he wants to use all his gas for. He's getting it from 2 geysers, of course, right now. He could just be going for a pretty quick lair.
And Axslav also has 2 gas up for the time being. It's a pretty good probe count out as well. But we'll see what his opponent is going to throw at him. Very soon, Violet's going to have enough for layer tech if he so desires. In fact, does have the gas for it at the moment, but also has a billion minerals saved up, and it looks like that's going to go towards another.
Oh, look at that. Wow. Selin getting all the way in the base for Axslav. What a durable scout that is. Yeah, he's going to see absolutely everything. Violet's going to need to wait. Yeah, as soon as the Zealot runs out of vision, he's going to start the lair at his... Oh, actually, at his natural.
Yeah.
And,
doesn't get down there.
Yeah. Now, here's the question. Did Axslav see that and was like, that's kind of suspicious that you were trying so hard to block my Zealot that you used your probes to do it?
Right.
I got a feeling there's something going on.
And we can see he actually throws down a second photon cannon in response and puts
and
up a Stargate at the same time.
Yeah, I think
So
he's kind of detecting something a little bit out of place here, which kind of lends credence to the whole possibility of a Nidus worm. But Spire, I would still say, could be quite effective on this map as well.
Especially with those 4 gas up at the same time. So he is definitely going to move into some sort of high tech. And, you know, Axslav did get in there. He's a smart player. So he gets in there. He's like, okay, I got really far behind your mineral line. You didn't have any tech structures up there, not even a roach worm. And you're mining off of 2 gas, obviously, for a pretty good period of time because he clicked on the gas. So he knows it's going to be allocated to something. But how is he going to react to it? 2 more gateways coming down now.
Yep, and there's a Spire, yep, from viOLet. So he is going to be going after Mutalisks, it looks like in this case. A nice scout, too. Sees the Stargate and everything. And he's like, all right, well, as long as you don't make a ton of Phoenixes out of 2 Stargates, I should still be okay with Mutalisks.
How cool would it be if we saw Anion Pulse Crystals?
Anion Pulse Crystals, that would be amazing.
Jungle Basin. That's right. Blows my mind just thinking about that.
The new meets the old.
Yes.
Poetic.
Nick, if you're listening, which you shouldn't be because that's cheating, but if you are, I demand you go for Phoenix range.
I know he's not.
I know he's not. He's too mannered of a player.
Yep. +1 finishing right now for Axslav. He's going to be able to send in some Zelts to do a lot of damage to the Lings if he decides to. And look at this, a very fast third base being taken, but it was scouted right away by the first Phoenix that was out on the map.
Yep, as we can see, perfect vision there. Yep. And these Zerglings trying to clear up the Xel'Naga Tower, but of course, +1 attack's already finished for that Zell, so we will take a few kills with him before he finally goes down.
Yep.
Phoenix is pretty much scouting everywhere, though, and another base about to come up for viOLet on the right-hand side of the map. He is saving up so much money for those mutas.
viOLet is playing this game exactly right. If you do put another base there, that's kind of, I mean, that's what you want to do. You want to put bases in very far apart places if you're playing PvZ. It's hard for the Protoss player to react and kind of take care of both of those. If you lose one, well, you still got the other one.
And
it's not so bad.
Third Phoenix joining up now, a 4th on the way. They are producing somewhat slowly, though they weren't being chrono boosted out, so it looks like he's allocating that towards other tech. Robotic facility coming up, Twilight Council coming up, 2 more gateways just being added, so quite a bit off of 2 bases, but of course he will have a lot of tech transitions at his disposal. Tons of gas saved up, could even see a Templar Archives.
That's what I was kind of wondering, if we were going to see maybe a Templar Archives right away, but no, a second Stargate. Okay, so Axslav is going to move up into a lot of Phoenixes here and just try to meet the Mutalisks head on. And, you know, if he can keep his Phoenixes alive, that would be okay, but it's a big if. You know, I mean, one bad engagement with Phoenixes, you lose a lot. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Takes one volley there from the Glaive Worm. So, of course, these do increase damage to light, as you can see, and they do double attack. So 20 damage each shot, as you can see. Mutalisks are pretty fragile units.
Yeah, no kidding. So really what you need to do is when you micro Mutalisks against Phoenixes, you need to kind of pull back and try to anticipate when they're going to dive in to try to hit you. And then dive in at the same time and get a nice volley off that'll bounce around and do a lot of damage. It's difficult, though. I mean, at the pro level, you see Phoenix is used pretty well, and there is a fleet beacon on the way.
Yes!
We may see the Anion Pulse Crystals. Oh, but look at this, a little bit of damage being done by viOLet.
Yeah, a few probes are going to go down, but something that Axslav himself actually preaches and teaches is that, you know, just having that 1 photon cannon down there can actually save 8 probes, even if a lot of things get cleared up after that. So it's still certainly worth that being there. And yes, the fleet beacon is on the way, so I think we're going to see Anion Pulse Crystals, and I could not be happier.
We could. I mean, we could also see carriers as well. I mean, there's +1 ship weapons on the way. Axslav is saving up quite a bit, but I think it will be the Phoenix upgrade. Oh, more probes getting taken down. Oh, you need to be careful with the Phoenixes. Yeah.
Definitely need to be careful, but the fleet beacon is finished up. And do it, Nick. You know you want to. Yes!
Anion Pulse Crystals!
I will go out and say that this is the first time and only time we will ever see in professional play Anion Pulse Crystals on Jungle Basin.
Anion Pulse Crystals. Oh, he might not even need it, though. The Muta's taking a lot of damage. Oh, but they dive back in.
Yeah, 1 Phoenix goes down, but the Mutas have already been dealt with pretty well. We do have 10 Hydralisks on the way, though. viOLet controlling pretty well. He does pick off a couple of those Phoenixes, but, you know, Axslav controlling just that much better, and he is going to run through the rest of the Mutas.
Yep, that's right.
Very well done.
Now, Anion Pulse Crystals will not affect the Graviton Beam at all. It still has the same range, even if you get the upgrade. So it's not like that's going to be any more helpful if viOLet decides to switch over to a ground army. And yeah, I should be able to lift some roaches here and make this a win.
Yeah.
Or not. The Hydra's coming from the bottom.
Yeah, he's going to have to start prioritizing
whoops.
those in just a second. So,
Yeah.
and in fact, he just can't. So, moving back now, we do have Void Race being added in, so he's going to continue with that Stargate play. Once again, Hydras are light units, so if they're picked up, the Phoenixes will dispatch of those pretty quickly. But they are anti-air, so certainly pretty effective against those Phoenixes in decent numbers.
Yep. Annie and Pulse Crystals have finished.
Yes!
They have finished. The Phoenixes now have 6 range instead of 4.
That's true. But I've got to say, you know, Axslav, he is on 2 bases, and viOLet has been able to expand everywhere. He's got a huge supply advantage.
He's got a gigantic lead. I mean, taking those bases early on is so smart. I mean, just classic good verse Stargate play from viOLet.
Yeah.
If your opponent goes Stargate like that, you can take bases and be like, all right, what are you going to do about it?
And right now, the answer is not a lot. There's a decent number of Phoenixes on the ground, but that's about it. Largely Zealots afterwards. The entire front wall has gone down.
Yeah, and that Ursa Deck Calf is not going to help Axslav one bit. Here we go. Here's the fight.
All right. Well, he is prioritizing picking up quite a few of those Hydras. And to be honest, not many of the Phoenixes have gone down quite yet. So he's actually doing a pretty effective job at prioritizing those now. The Roaches are left over. They're not going to be able to hit the Void Ray, but they still have enough DPS that they can do some damage before they eventually die.
Yeah, but this isn't looking too bad for Axslav. I mean, as far as this particular fight goes, of course, still a huge economic lead for Empire viOLet.
Yeah.
But this fight, you know, may actually be won.
Oh, doesn't have enough for Graviton Beam, unfortunately, so the Void Ray does take a little bit of damage, but you're right. He cleans out that army, but still finds himself half the supply of his opponents.
Yeah, 172 to just 96 right now. It's a little bit rough here. He's going to be going for Colossus Tech, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on 2 bases, I mean, it's tough. You can only stay on 2 bases for too long, especially when your opponent is on 4 bases.
Right.
It's a big deal.
That's, and now viOLet going to be moving out. Axslav has to watch out for those Phoenixes!
No. Oh, he does lose 1.
Yeah, he
has built up some energy.
Ooh, but he lost 2 Phoenixes there, unfortunately, for the cost of just 1 Hydra.
That's not worth it. And here we go up the ramp yet again. Maybe a little bit too premature, I gotta say. I feel like viOLet should kind of group up until he has a big maxed army, then move up the ramp. It's not like there's going to be any sentries really that he needs to worry about, so he can just bust up there once he's maxed.
All right,
and
well,
here he goes. Close enough, I guess.
And Axslav pulling a few probes off the line as well to help buffer a bit of that damage. Yeah, Phoenix is dealing with these Hydras so quickly.
Wow.
And then the Immortals going through most of the Roaches after that. Unfortunately, though, there's just not enough DPS, and the wave of units still coming in for viOLet. Axslav moving back to a little bit more defensive position, though.
Oh, and more Hydras coming in. You know, despite great play, viOLet is in danger of just kind of overrunning his opponent here.
Yeah, it seems like it's there's just 2 units here, or I'm sorry, 3 units here that can attack ground.
That pylon is powering quite a bit. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is rough. 10 Lings, 10 Hydras, and a bunch of Roaches on the way as well. He's getting Infestor upgrades now at the same time. 100 supply ahead for Empire viOLet.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a winnable situation by Axslav.
No.
Does he even know about the 4th base quite yet? He hasn't even seen it.
Wow, no.
So yeah, he may think he's 2 base versus 3 base yet.
Yeah, and he's going to head over there and see a fully completed base, and I'm sure that's not going to make him happy.
That's tough, definitely, yeah. So, another big push coming in for viOLet, just trying to kind of overwhelm his opponent, wear him down with just a lot of units. The war of attrition is definitely going in Zerg's favor right now.
Very much so. We'll see, though, if Axslav can make another miracle stand. A few Hydras picked up, but most of the Phoenixes have gone down. There's GG.
Wow.
And viOLet is up 2-0.